The Legend of Sakura. In the year 2130, the Earth Defense Force stood as the final line of protection against a cold, unforgiving galaxy. Amidst the gleaming steel and high-tech weaponry of the training grounds, Sakura felt like a ghost in the machine. While other recruits moved with lethal precision, she fumbled with her sidearm, her shots wide of the flickering holographic targets. Her 23rd year felt less like a beginning and more like a slow, agonizing descent into failure. "You are a stain on this uniform, recruit." The voice of Sergeant Biff cut through the air like a serrated blade. He was a mountain of a man, hardened by decades of border wars and fueled by a cruel disdain for anything he deemed weak. He loomed over Sakura, his face inches from hers, as she knelt in the dirt after a failed melee drill. To Biff, Sakura wasn't a soldier. She was a mistake that needed to be erased through relentless, soul-crushing discipline. The nights were the hardest. While the rest of the barracks slept, dreaming of glory and promotion, Sakura lay awake in the dim glow of the emergency lights. The weight of her inadequacy felt heavier than any rucksack. She clutched her dog tags, the cool metal a reminder of why she joined, but the salt of her tears reminded her of how much she had lost. The depression was a thick, black fog that refused to lift, no matter how many extra laps she ran. Every day was a repetition of torment. Under the gray skies of the training facility, Biff pushed her beyond the breaking point. While the other soldiers finished their drills and headed for the mess hall, Sakura was forced to remain in the rain, crawling through the mud with a heavy pack that threatened to snap her spine. She was a silhouette of exhaustion, a young woman drowning in a sea of military expectations that she could never hope to meet. "There is a different kind of strength, Sakura. One that doesn't rely on the luck of your genes." The voice was calm, clinical, and unexpected. Dr. Kingsley, the EDF's lead bioengineer, stood at the edge of the training field. He had watched her from the shadows for weeks, seeing the resilience in her spirit that Biff had mistaken for weakness. He offered her a hand, a gesture of salvation in a world that had only offered her a boot. Kingsley led her deep into the bowels of the Research and Development Wing, a place of humming servers and sterile white light. This was the Origin Lab, where the line between human and machine was being blurred. He spoke of a serum, an experimental catalyst designed to rewrite the human genome for the next generation of warfare. Sakura looked at the gleaming glass vats, knowing that this path offered no return. The preparation was cold and methodical. Sakura was strapped into a central medical chair, surrounded by a forest of needles and monitors. Kingsley moved with a surgeon's focus, checking the vitals of his only willing subject. Sakura's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic rhythm that echoed through the quiet room. She was terrified, but the thought of returning to Biff's drills was a far worse fate. Then came the needle. As the experimental serum surged into her veins, the world dissolved into a cacophony of white light and searing heat. It wasn't just pain. It was the sensation of being unmade and rebuilt at the molecular level. Sakura's scream echoed through the lab, a raw, primal sound that tore through the sterile silence. Her body arched against the restraints as the power of the serum fought to find a home in her DNA. To stabilize the overwhelming energy, Kingsley activated the final stage. Advanced plates of pink-hued tech armor rose from the floor, magnetically latching onto Sakura's form. The metal was light as silk but harder than diamond, integrating with her nervous system. As the chaos subsided, the woman who had been the weakest recruit vanished. Kingsley stepped back, his eyes gleaming with a creator's pride. "Behold," he whispered, "the birth of Captain Sakura." The strain of the transformation was too much for the human mind to bear at once. As the armor's systems hummed into a standby mode, Sakura's eyes rolled back, and she collapsed. Kingsley caught her before she hit the floor, his face showing a rare moment of concern. He carefully placed her into a recovery pod, where the nutrient fluids would help her body finish its evolution. The EDF had its weapon, but Sakura was now in a dream from which she would wake up a goddess.